Hey everyone, so we are doing a tier list today. Now it has been a while since I've last done a tier list. The last time we did a tier list was at the end of 1.1, and now we are at the end of 1.3 here, going into 1.4 in just a couple days. Now, last time I did the tier list, I had some people were a little confused on how I do tier lists and confused on the way I did it. So I did pull up my previous tier list, which I want to do anyways, just for compare and contrast reasons. But last video, last time I did tier list, I should say, the way I rank them is I'm going to go through 10th place to 1st place. I'm going to rank the top 10 characters in the entire game, right? What I would say are the top 10 characters in the entire game. From 10 to 1, I'm going to go into like detail, and this is like kind of how I feel about it. And then after that, we're going to go into a list of how I feel about every single character in the game. This one will already be pre-made. This one I'll make with you. This one was already pre-made. And we'll take a look at, how things change and just, how good these characters are or aren't. So we're going to do top 10, and then we're going to do like the actual tier list version that you typically see. Now for top 10 characters in the game, this is probably a little bit of a controversial list, just a little bit, because maybe the way I feel about characters is not the way you feel about characters. And if something's different, then comment down below. We could talk about it. I'm fine having a civil discussion. But this is what I think are the top 10 characters in the game to start off with. Now, we're going to start off with Bailu. I think Bailu is pretty good. She was actually not the 10th. She was the 8th character that I had on 1.1, and obviously a lot more characters come out. She has, survived. She stays in the top 10, mainly because of, she's a good healer. She's a good healer. Only one other healer has come out a lot better than her. Sure, Locha is a lot better than her, but she does have a unique thing of she can revive characters, and she does, she's unique in that way. We haven't got another healer that can revive like that. She also heals pretty well. There's no other healers of her typing, that one being, of course, Lightning. She's just kind of stayed because, she's consistent and she's good, and she doesn't have a lot of competition is the big thing. Not a lot of competition for her. Not too much I could say about her. I do have her. I haven't really been able to use her. I don't have every single character in the game, and even some that I have, I haven't really been able to level up and use. But some of the ones I have a lot stronger feelings are I have. So, however I feel about some of these characters, right? Alright, next one is 9. This is definitely controversial. I know I'm not going to a lot of people agreeing with me on this, but 9, I have Inhibitor Lune Don Hung. Now, I don't like him. That's not true. I do like him. I think he's good. I find him really annoying to use, though. He is a character where you really need to not only build a team around him, but you have to focus on using him just really, really hard. And that's because he is just a skill point hog. He just eats up your skill points so much. And, you have some things that help you so you don't have to use skill points, whether that be his ultimate, whether that be his technique. But, a lot of other characters I use, some techniques are just better start fights, so I don't use his every single time. Another thing is some characters are just better with a lot less cost, and so I don't like having enough skill points to max him out. And his ultimate costs a lot. It's a high amount of energy you need to use his ultimate, so it's not like you can just use it all the time. And his energy gain is like pitiful. So he's got a lot of problems. Thing is, he is just an attacker who uses the attack stat, crit rate, crit damage stuff built in, right? So he definitely can deal a lot of damage. The big thing is he's just such a skill point hog, and he's not easy to throw on a team. He's not easy to throw on a team. You really have to focus on him. If he's like your only 5-star, then obviously, yeah, he's great. You build every team around him. But I do, as far as premium 5-star units, I have all of them except for Zila and Jing Yuan. So, as someone who does have a lot of these other carry characters, I have to say that he's very annoying to use. And he's not as easy to use as other characters. And I'd say other characters are kind of better than him, and they're easier to use. So he just goes down. Next up we have Jeopard. I didn't actually have this character. He is, of course, a general banner 5-star unit. The only general banner 5-star units I do not have is Jeopard, Himiko, and is that it? That is it. Those are the only 2 premium 5-star characters. Not premium. The normal standard banner, unfeatured 5-star characters I do not have. So Jeopard, but what I've seen of him, He's great. He's got that like self-revive. He has insane tanking abilities. He's an ice type, and ice types are definitely needed right now. I feel like a lot of the hard fights have a lot of them are weak to ice. And it's really good that, what's her name, Jing Liu here is coming out. She's going to be great. She's very needed because ice type kind of sucks a little bit. Your main ice type carry attacker is Yanqing, and I'm not a super big fan on using him because I feel like he's so RNG on those follow-up attacks to be able for him to deal damage that I'm just not a fan. But Jeopard's really good. He tanks super well. He's been good. He was on the tier list before. He was at 4, so he's obviously gone down a little bit, but a lot of better characters have just come out. That's just how it happens, right? Yeah, but he's still really good. He's definitely a worthwhile pickup if you haven't gotten him yet. He's one of those characters where you want to use your when you use all the standard banner stuff, like 300 pulls or whatever it is to get a free character. He's definitely one you should consider. Him and pretty much anyone else on this top 10 tier list, I would say, are worth it. Which I'm pretty sure there's only one other, but let's just keep going here. I don't have him, so it's hard to me to say. But from what I've seen, he is fantastic. All right, next up we're gonna have Kafka, and yeah, she's lower than I would have put her last tier list if I did one. Before she would have been probably like 4 or 5, I would say, but she's obviously gone down a little bit because there's been a huge meta shift with the monoquantum stuff, and we haven't seen any quantum characters yet, but trust me, they're up at the top because monoquantum is insane. She is just super solid though. She is super good. She pretty much runs like any type of Nihility team you have as far as being super good. She gives a lot of characters purpose, which is nice for her. But there are a lot of characters you wouldn't use unless you're doing kind of like a special setup, like a full Nihility setup like that. But I think she's great. She's easy enough to throw on pretty much most teams. I find that her, you don't need to be in specific teams for her. She allows some other characters to be put on these specific teams. But she is super good, super useful. You can just throw her on pretty much any team that's like weak to lightning, and she'll do just a really good job as a sub DPS. She's crazy. She just makes she's just an incredibly solid character. I use her a ton because she's just really good. All right, next up yet again is it's crazy that some of these characters have fallen as far as they have. Bronya is at 6. Bronya at 6. Oh my gosh. Last time I had Bronya at 2. I would say the last patch I would have had her at 3, but now she is at 6. And that's just because, like I said, the meta shifted and you have just a lot of these characters that are just better. That said, she is a must run on every team. If you can just throw her on there, you got an extra slot, you put her on pretty much every single team because she's the best support in the game by far. By leaps and bounds, she's the best team in the game. I've probably used her the most because you just throw her on every team and you can't, say that that's not good. It's great. I just think that the 5 above her are just so good. It's not really like Bronny's at 6 because she sucks. Bronny's at 6 because the top 5 are just as good as they are. But she's really good. It's crazy, but I mean, next up we have Blade, who is even crazier. Now before last patch, obviously Blade hasn't been on it. The last patch I would have had Blade at I would have had him either 1 or 2. I thought him and we'll just pull up the next one too. I thought him and Locha were just 1 and 2 together. When used together, they're 1 and 2. Right. I don't think that's as true, obviously, now because he's at 5. But they are, put together. They are some of the best characters in the game by far. I probably, last patch, if I made a tier list, would have had Blade at 1, Locha's 2. But now I've changed my mind. I think Locha is better than Blade, partly because Locha is another, must run. He is just such an insane healer. He doesn't need to deal damage, so you don't have to worry about the enemy being weak to him. And, of course, if they are, it's nice. But his healing is to a degree unheard of. When I run teams that don't have Locha, I feel a little bit more scared. I feel like my team's squishier. I've been running the Monoquantum team a lot, and I've been running Lynx, and of course a 4-star unit shouldn't hold a candle to a 5-star unit, and she doesn't because Locha is insane with his safety net, the healing that comes from the field that he does. He's insane, and Blade is of course insane as well. Generally, you do want him to go up against an enemy who's weak to wind, which there are a lot of. You can do a lot of damage to an enemy that, obviously isn't weak to wind, but those who are, he mollywops. He demolishes. He turns them into a police chalk outline. He just does so much damage. He's crazy. His follow-up attack does a lot of damage. His ability does a lot of damage. One thing that you might notice is kind of, it didn't super matter before, is that, you know, obviously he does not generate any skill points. He takes 1, and then his main attack does not generate any skill points. Because of that, you do not want to run him and Imbibitor Lunate on the same team, like, at all. I run them on the same team before quite a few times, and I hate it. It just feels like, you know, you want to prioritize Blade just because he's better than Imbibitor Lunate, and Blade takes like nothing to be good. He's just good, right? So then it makes him look even worse. So I don't really like to run them on the same team at all, because then Imbibitor Lunate just feels like a wasted slot, and it would have been better if I just threw literally any other character right there. So yeah, the Blade's really good. Locha's really good. Now let's just get to the top 3, and I'm just going to throw them all on here because, honestly, I feel like you could put them in pretty much any order, but this is the order that I would put them in right now. But honestly, if you feel like anyone in the top 3 is in a different order, you're right. But if you don't have these characters in your top 3, then I feel like you're kind of insane. So, Mono Quantum, we could do it now. And it's crazy. It's really good. I've been using it. I've been using a scuffed setup where I have to use Ching Che, and I'm still, you know, I still can't say that it's not the best team in the game. Its versatility on being able to fight any single boss and do it well is, you know, is so valuable. It doesn't go, you know, you could have however many, you know, you could have all your characters, whatever, you know, before Jing Liu comes out for ice, you know, you go up against an enemy who's like only weak to ice, you do your Memory of Chaos, whatever. The thing only shows ice there. They're pretty much only weak to ice. It's only like common type. Even in the Mono Quantum team, it doesn't matter that they're only weak to ice because you're able to run them. You have one team on each of your like Memory of Chaos stuff or Hall of Memory stuff that's just solid. You're just like, yep, that's the team I run. I don't need to worry. I could build the other one. This one's like a guaranteed run on pretty much every single one of them. And that cannot be understated. That's insane. I'm really so surprised that they like let this happen. The only thing is, one thing you want to be careful of, obviously, is you need Silverwolf. Silverwolf is a necessity. I don't put Silverwolf at 1 because Zila is just so insane beforehand, and now that every enemy can be weak to her and guaranteed to be weak to her, now she is even better. Fushuan's really good as well. Like I said, she's insane. She keeps the team alive. These 3 are core. Like, if you wanted to call it the best team in the game, you have this 3. I don't have Zila. I would still call it the best team in the game, just thinking about, like, if I had Zila. I find that the problem that I have running the team is damage. I don't deal enough damage. If I had Zila, that would be a different story because she's a damage dealer. I'm just have to, like, max out Qingche to, like, an insane degree just to have her even do even a little bit enough. But I mean, this is just the 3 best characters in the game because of the Mono Quantum team. I don't know what to tell you. You know, argue with the wall. If you don't think that, I think you're like blind, or you haven't used it before, which is like fair if you haven't used it before. You know, not everyone has every character in the game, but just like think about it in your brain for 2 seconds, and there's no way you can't say that, you know, these are the top 3 in the game. Mono Quantum team is the best team in the game. You just can't do it. Alright, so to compare my last 1.1 tier list, some things have obviously changed. Zila is still at the top, which she would not have been at the top in you know, 1.2 or 1.3, or yeah, 1.2 tier list, that's for sure. But hey, you know what? Return of her, it's kind of crazy how, I don't know if you guys remember this, she was the very first premium unit to come out. She's the first one for her to be what I would argue at least guaranteed top 3. My opinion, the best character in the game right now is kind of crazy for the very first release. But you know what? She deserves it. She's that good. So, all right. Some characters that got kicked out of the top 10 from 1.1. Obviously, it doesn't give a whole story because we're missing premium characters here. I didn't do a tier list for 1.2, but Pella got knocked out. However, I'd still consider her to be in the upper echelon. Jing Yuan got knocked out. I would not consider him to be in the upper echelon of characters anymore. Welt got kicked out because his main gimmick, as far as being like super duper good, was he was like the only imaginary character. Now that we have more and we have, you know, Imbibitor Lunate and stuff like that, he's not as necessary. He's still good, right? But he's not top 10 material. But he's, you know, like top 15. He's still really good. Clara, I've been using a lot less. I feel like I don't really need as many physical characters, and I feel like it's not a type that I'm dying to get characters for, but I really need her. But, she's still good. She's still in the upper echelon of characters. Obviously, Silverwolf went up quite a bit. Silverwolf would have been quite far down, too, on my previous tier list if I had done one. So that's interesting to look at. Let's take a look at just the regular tier list that I have here. This is how I'd rank all the characters from CBA, S, and Q for the Mono Quantum. You think that's just an S+. just being a little cheeky, I guess. But this is how I would rank every single character in the game. Now, we're not going to go over all the characters and why they are or aren't, on where they are. So just some notable ones as we look through here. The only 4 stars that I think are really getting into the upper echelon right now are Asta. I've changed on her a lot. If we look at her, I used to have her an A. Using her more, I find her to be really good. Just the amount she helps and the amount she does, and the amount of enemies that are weak to fire. But yet again, fire, that's another one that really needs something. Luckily, we're getting that next patch. Ice and fire, we're getting both of those, and we really, really need them, if you ask me. So that's really good. But, there's been a lot of enemies weak to fire, and her support is just really, really good. Pella, same way. Obviously, a lot of enemies have been weak to ice, and her support is, or her debuffing is just godly. She is really, really good for a free-to-play, 4-star character like that. Ting-Yan, of course, is great. I would say she definitely would have went down last tier list just because the primary damage dealer that was just so big was Blade, and attack on him doesn't really matter. But Imbibitor Lune is a standard attacking character. Kafka is also, yet again, a character that needs, attack stats. So she's just really good. Lynx, of course, is part of the Mono Quantum team. She's great. Looking at here, Jing Yuan went down to A. I'm pretty sure he was an S the last time he was, but not anymore. I would say that he went down just because I feel like there's not really a huge use for him, especially after Kafka released. Lightning damage is solid, and it's a lot better with her than it was with him. Ching Chu went up a lot. She used to be in C. She was one of my least favorite characters. She went up to A, almost S. She just I don't think she does enough. I had her in S in my mind, and then I did her showcase, and she went down for me for sure. Yanqing used to be an S, but I find him to be really annoying to run right now, so he went down. I forgot who Blade. I'm pretty sure Blade was supposed to be Yukong. It's still the same place for her. B tier is a lot of these characters where they have uses, but they're very specific, other than Serval and the Fire Trailblazer. I think the Fire Trailblazer just isn't that great. Really good for a free-to-play character that you have like that, but not super great. And Serval's pretty okay. But the rest of these 4 have niche uses, but when you get uses out of them, they are really good. And C tier is kind of characters that I just don't really ever use. I don't think I pretty much ever will. They're just they're zeros. They're kind of losers. Physical Trebla, they're cool, very simple for a free-to-play character, but whatever. Are we running Physical Trailblazer in today's age? Be real. Regular original Dan Heng, he's such a zero. Arlen 0. Herd is a 0. They're just zeros. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed, you got any differences, let me know. I'll talk to you about it. Maybe I'll put your input in. Like I said, there are some characters I don't have. I don't have Jeopard. I don't have Himiko. I don't have Jing Yuan. Don't have Zila. I don't have, I think that's it, actually. So, obviously, some of those characters might be a little wrong. And, some characters I have, but I haven't really gotten a chance to use. So, you know what? If you just have, feel anything, whatever, let me know. Also, let me know if you're excited for the new characters that are coming out. I'm very excited. I feel like they're much needed for the content that we have going on right now. I feel like they're going to buff up some of those teams a ton. So, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.